In this video, I am going to talk about some JavaScript lessons that a novice student learns. Okay, JavaScript is a computer language that is used for normally programming web pages, but it is also used throughout all sections of computer programming. Okay, so I'm just going to demonstrate some teachings of mine about JavaScript in this video. Okay, this is an web. As you can see that I have already prepared a simple HTML document. Doctor HTML means that I have declared a document type which is a HTML type of the document which is HTML. So the type of the document is HTML. Then I have started the HTML document by this HTML tag. Then I have declared a head sections, and this is the start tag of the head section, and this is the end tag of the head section, and my document content will be content by this section which is called body. This is the start tag of body section, and this is the end tag of body section. Okay. Now I'm going to just show you some simple JavaScript lessons here. Okay, but JavaScript codes are enclosed within a tag that is called a script tag. So all JavaScript codes are written inside the script tag. If you write JavaScript lessons in any other tag except the script tag, then that JavaScript code won't be executed. Okay. Uh, so what can I do here? I'm just going to declare a simple headline element. Let me just say that hi, this is my first JavaScript lesson. So hi, so this h1 element, which is the headline element, contains this writing in it. So the writing that is between the in tag, start tag, the begin tag, and the end tag will be considered as the text that will be displayed in the document. H1 or this beginning tag or this end tag won't be displayed by the web page. The writing that is between these tags will be displayed by the web page. So this writing will be displayed as a headline in the document that I am creating now. And I'm going to make another H1 element, and in this element I am going to write I am hoping that this video will be helpful for the novice students. This is another H1 element that I have made. Now I am going to apply JavaScript onto these two headlines. Okay, but first I have already told you that you need to include all JavaScript codes inside the script tag. So I'm just gonna go into create a script right here. You can put script text anywhere in your HTML document. You can put this HTML, you can put script tag here inside the head section. You can put a script tag here inside the body section, or you can put a script tag inside this HTML section, or you can even put a script tag inside this doc tab HTML section. You can create script tags anywhere, and number of the script tags can be more than one. Number of script tags can be billions. The computer will accept the number of the computer will accept script tags of infinite numbers. If that number is infinite, the computer will also accept this. Okay, so script tag. I am going to, but first I need to identify what element I am choosing and on what element I will perform changes. For example, I am going to give this, so for this I need to give this heading an ID or maybe a class. So I'm going to give this h1 element an ID which is heading 1, and I am going to give it a class which is called mm, headings, and I am not going to give any ID to this. Remember, also remember this one, that you can give only one ID to you can give one ID to one element, but you can give one ID to multiple elements, because that element will only that element will have this ID, and only that element will be identified by this ID. Not any other element will be identified that ID. But you can give one class name to multiple elements, because there's multiple elements. Those multiple elements will be then considered same class. So those multiple elements will then be in a class. So you are actually classifying those multiple elements by including them inside a class. So I am going to include them in the same class, that's which has this name called headings. So now I have two heading elements that are in a class called headings. Uh, okay, now I'm going to declare a variable, and let me just say that the variable name is heading 1. Okay, now heading 1 is inside this HTML document. Okay, so I am going to choose this document's element which has an ID of heading 1, and this is done by using a built-in function of JavaScript, a built-in function of HTML, built-in function of JavaScript which is called getElementById. So built-in functions of JavaScript are called methods. So I am going to apply a method onto this document object. So get element by ID. So I'm actually getting the element which the ID of which is heading 1. So I'm just gonna put heading 1 here by this way. Now this variable heading 1 is actually the element which the ID of which is heading 1. Okay. Um, and get email by ID. What have I actually done here? I have actually mm, mm, There, I have actually performed a I have actually looked here what am I doing here. Get element by ID heading 1 is equal to the element which ID is heading, the ID of which is heading 1. So this dot sign is actually apostrophe. Apostrophe. This dot sign actually means apostrophe. So document means the whole HTML document, and get element by ID heading 1 is actually a function that fetches the element with the ID heading 1. So the get element by ID heading 1 is actually equal to the element with ID heading 1. So get element by ID is actually the element that has the ID heading 1. So we can just this simple if we want to write this, then this this value actually means document dot heading 1, right? Document dot heading 1, which means document heading 1. So this is this is actually the what the variable means. I am actually getting the element that with the ID heading 1. So I have already um, captured this heading in the script section. I have already captured this element in the script section. I am going to perform change onto this heading, onto this onto this code element. So how am I going to do it? Uh, how am I going to do it? I am going to first perform document. What is I'm going to now I am going to perform changes onto the class section onto these two headings. I want to perform same changes onto these two headings. So how am I going to perform the same changes onto these two headings? I am going to get the class of these two headings. Because these two headings are in the same class, the changes that will be performed onto the elements of the class will also be applied onto these two elements because these two elements are in the same class. So I am going to declare a variable with the name heading class and document dot elements by passing heading. So heading class now contains then the variable heading is now contain all the elements that are inside the class headings. Okay, so I am now going to execute a function here. Function uh, function writing that now I only want to make the background of heading color. I want to change the background of the heading color, background color of the heading with the ID heading 1, and I want to change the font size and font color of both headings. So how am I going to do it? I am going to first perform I'm going to first change the background color of the element with the ID heading 1. So heading 1 is the variable that contains this element with the ID heading 1 in it. So style dot background color will be equal to, let me just say, blueprint. So this will be the background color of the element with the ID heading 1, and I want to change both the font color and the font size of the headings of both headings. So how am I going to do it? I am going to fetch their class. I'm going to use the class name for performing changes onto these both headings. So heading class variable contains heading class variable contains these two elements inside it. So I just want the font color of the text as mm, tomato, and I want the, okay, what is the name of, I'm not gonna test the, what is the name of size, I'm not sure. This font size, I'm not sure about, I have forgotten the property name of font size transition, but I'm just going to change the font. I'm just going to change the font name. I want the font to be, mm, mm, let me see it. Arial. I'm just going to use a different name. I'm just going to use this font for area. Okay. Now I'm going to activate this function. Okay. So activating the function should make this element with the ID heading 1 have a background color, have a yellow green background, and have this two heading has tomato has tomato color as their color and Arial as their font style, as their font name. Okay, so let me see if this has worked or not. I'm going to save and see if this save has successfully been applied onto the document or not. So where is it? The extra. See, now Plus, so this is how you perform. So this is how you make. This is how you actually use JavaScript. This is just a simple lesson of JavaScript, and I hope that you will like this tutorial video. And I'm also hoping that you have enjoyed this video a little. Stay well, healthy, and happy. Goodbye.